With map 1 complete and Mirage emerging victorious 7-3 the margin on Coastline, we look to Cafe as potentially the ground of One Shot making their own statement here. They've yet to put together a couple of rounds that really felt like they were on top, and if they want to head to our decider map, they're going to really have to step things up quickly.
Yeah, especially the rest of the squad with the exception of Slippery. Slippery was the only man who was consistently doing things for the squad on their attack, but the defense was a real struggle for One Shot. Now that we move on to Cafe, a much more defender-sided map. We'll see how that goes, but of course One Shot will be attacking first. Mirage taking out Thatcher, One Shot banning the Flores definitely makes sense. Cafe leaves a lot of shield play up, so Flores, makes those shields a little bit better for the defense. Usually that One Shot take out the Flores despite starting on attack, but of course, they'll have to play the defense eventually. And Mira, Cafe is one of Mira's best maps. Makes sense that she is no longer going to see play. And Mirage get a choice. They can either ban the Wamai to make the shields, kind of back to even playing field, or they take out the Valkyrie, as Valkyrie is also a very good operator here on Cafe, and they will actually opt for the Cade, figuring that, hey, you know what? With a Thatcher ban, we're going to take out Cade. Now we don't need to play Maverick anymore.
And as smart as that may be, the one thing you always have to remember is this, not always about who you ban, it's about who you don't ban. Valkyrie is still left up, and on a map like Cafe, most likely we are going to see the Valkyrie run every single round. It'd almost be ridiculous to say that a defensive team wouldn't bring her out, considering how powerful those black eye cameras can be, how much soft destruction potential there is on this map, and so those C4s aided by that Valk intel can be insane. Not to mention there's a bunch of windows, a bunch of doors that you can run out. And that's exactly why we're going to see Thomas 6-picking from the Mute to the Valkyrie, which adds to the ridiculous amount of intel that Mirage are going for right now. Because not only do they have those black eye cameras, but they've got the pulse as well. Both of these intel-focused operators, they've got C4s in pocket. Loading also has a C4. And on top of all of that, Harrison, we've got a fun bomb site on our hands. They are going to the off-site of Mining and Fireplace, or Mining and Dining, whatever you want to call it, to start off the night.
Yeah, interesting decision from Mirage. Definitely the off-site when it comes to this map, or if you want to say the quaternary site. And of course, as with reading, it also relies on this top floor coverage. Only if you're the attack, you don't necessarily need to go all the way through top floor. A lot of times, just control of Cigar and Piano will suffice as long as you can keep any defenders attempting to retake from White and Cocktail at bay. And One Shot do have, again, that sledge at their disposal. Another interesting facet is that Quartz has been rocking the Claymore on the Ash. I think all of Coastline as well. Interesting decision considering how rarely utilized Claymores are, especially when Ash has breaching charges at her disposal. And on a map like Cafe, where the vertical is so important, you're going to want that redundancy with Storms. But for now, One Shot will just rock that sledgehammer, but they will get an opening pick. It looked like Benji attempting to run out on the Repel players instead. One Shot are prepared, and he will get caught.
Yeah, he was, grouped up tight with that black eye camera as we saw on stage. I think he was trying to remain hidden as much as possible if, perhaps a drone worked its way in the building, but then he decided, you know what, it's my time to jump out. He had some intel from both Thomas and Nyx, and so he thought it was his opportunity to make a move, maybe try to stop this one-shot attack before it could even begin. It'd be certainly quite a demoralizing way to start off a map that you need to win if you're one-shot by getting jumped out on by Benji. But either way, One Shot winning that early engagement means that they will now go through the remainder of this attacking round in a 5v4. Of course, they still have to worry about the possibility that a C4 comes up from below, or actually from the same floor if Nyx wants to target Quartz with a Nitro Cell here. But for now, no one else from Mirage is going to make an aggressive move.
And Quartz is actually safe because there is a castle barricade on that reading doorway to Pillar, so no aggressive opportunities for the defense there. Castle barricades scattered around the remainder of that first floor just to make One Shot's progress impeded a little bit, as Storms will now work to clear reading room. All of these top floor roamers have fallen off, and Quartz is in pillar. Very aggressive, looking to catch any rotating defenders, but unfortunately he can't land the shots on Thomas just yet. The Valkyrie coming under fire will remain alive, and Storms does not have the angle from above, so unfortunately for One Shot, that kill will slip through their fingers, at least for now. 50 seconds now remaining. One Shot continuing with that vertical destruction. I believe they have fully cleared reading, and with that, they'll start to take in, but Slippery outside, who is planning, I believe, on repelling on the dining window, is jumped out upon. That's his second kill of the round. Both of them coming on running out defenders, and looks like One Shot's next target is this Pulse,
who's also in a tough spot, right? He doesn't have a window to jump out of. He doesn't have that kind of escape route, but he's got to find his way back to the site somehow because One Shot are bearing down upon it. Thomas is really the closest defender who can make any sort of impact here. He'll step up and try to deal with Swaylin, who gets cut down to 1 HP, but the plant's going to go down regardless. The C4 will finally finish off Swaylin, but it is still One Shot with a one-man advantage now in a post-plant situation. They've got the windows for coverage, they've got flashes, they've got utilities still to use, and they've got Kilo, who's on the hunt here. He'll downloading, he'll get down for his troubles, but push One Shot into a 3v2, still with the advantage. Kilo and Quartz will both swoop in and get the job done. Actually, Storms and Quartz in the last few seconds there, but One Shot, despite, you know, dealing with all that aggression from Mirage, they keep their composure and they roll through that round, making sure to get the bomb down and take the win.
And again, in big part to Slippery outside, holding those windows. Not really even holding those windows, just catching people running out. That was 2 kills in a row, both on aggressive defenders that the Finka was able to nab, and with full control of reading and all that vertical presence for One Shot. That meant mining was clear to go into. They had forced all the defenders back over towards Red Hallway and dining. There was not a lot that defense could do for that plant. The C4 unfortunately missing, getting one of the covers instead of the planter. And Kilo, I got to give it up to Kilo. He was trying to watch 2 angles at once. We saw him darting back and forth like a crackhead. Eventually, he actually got a down before being traded from there. I mean, One Shot in that post plant, that's a pretty tough post plant to lose in that plant spot as well, completely covered by the window. Good first attack. One Shot showing that they were not to be caught off guard by the offsite.
And not only that, I guess we are seeing, you know, the 2 more unexpected bomb sites right away, back to back. We're going to reading right away. We're not going to see Bar and Cocktail, nor will we see Kitchen. Instead, Mirage keeping it interesting. Maybe trying to keep One Shot on their toes, but I suspect after that last round, One Shot, they're not going to be surprised with any bomb site thrown at them. So maybe, truthfully, Mirage think that, you know, this site setup is their most viable and their strongest. This site, of course, does leverage the advantage of the top floor while also not allowing the attack to simply only have to enter the top floor. The advantage of a site like Reading is you have to force One Shot to clear out that top floor, and still they'll have a lot of utility and a lot of defenders to work their way through just to get to the second floor and just to get that bomb down. So far, One Shot will start things with what looks to be that top floor clear. Often we will see teams try to avoid that somewhat, and they'll go for that fireplace hall take instead. But based on the fact that we see Quartz out here on, you know, this snow balk, it does appear he's going to be aiding his team in taking some bit of control on that top floor, trying to isolate this White Stairs player, making sure that loading cannot rotate all the way upstairs again.
And One Shot looking like it's going to be a standard clear, full over from top, starting towards Cigar. Quartz is already outside Snow Door with the barricades open. Maybe looking for an opportunity for an aggressive play. He's droning himself in. There's not really a lot on site that the defenders could do to stop it. The Storm's now breaching through the trash wall. Will find the Valk Cam, and in come One Shot. It looks like their first target may be Benji, the Jaeger. Quartz already placed in pillar, is waiting for any of the defenders' fall-offs. If they try to go pillar, they will surely die at the hands of this Ash, but no one from Mirage have exposed themselves thus far. We're only a minute left in this round, and sure, One Shot, they might have this top floor control, but they don't have any opening picks and none openings in the site just yet.
Yeah, and despite, you know, the lack of progress they've made, I mean, you can see that Quartz, I mean, he's oddly isolated in Pillar right now. I do think Kilo has rotated down to be with him. And finally, One Shot have the control of Cocktail that they need. Mirage have backed off, but all 5 of them are still alive, and like you said, that is not going to make any sort of one-shot execute any easier. Nyx will kind of gift a kill towards Quartz as he walks up red 90. He'll get taken care of, and where's the defense to deny this plant? No one is even close. Look at these blue outlines. They were not in the right spot, so the plant's going to go down uncontested. Slippery does get dealt with by Thomas here, and loading, he'll smoke off and actually go for this defuse. Swaylin picks up a kill, but where's One Shot? Loading perfectly timed. He'll finally get taken down from above. Thomas also dropped. It's all up to Benji now in a 1v3 in what could have been a legendary ninja defuse. It'll all collapse upon Mirage just in the nick of time for One Shot. Benji finally felled by Swaylin, but man, that was a lot closer than One Shot we're hoping.
Yeah, I was really scared for a second. That was so nearly clutch for Mirage there, but they still had that top floor cover, and that was a good job from One Shot. Sure, it came really late into the round, but like you said, no one from Mirage was really placed inside of reading to stop that plant, not even the smoke. He was kind of tucked in his own corner, whether or not he was, forced back by the vertical destruction and maybe too scared to push back out because of the angles held from above. Either way, that plant was virtually free. And the retake suffered because of it. One Shot literally lost nothing to get that plant down. And while Mirage got a couple trades, the most important kill was not found. And that was the kill on the sledge upstairs, who still had vertical angles, stopped the smoke diffusing just in the nick of time, and downed Thomas to boot. So well done to One Shot, winning their first 2 attacks. They've already matched their attacking record on Coastline. And I mean, we know that Cafe is one of One Shot's favorite map, so I wouldn't doubt if they even extend this attacking advantage further.
Yeah, and Mirage, I mean, clearly they've felt maybe a little bit surprised in how strong One Shot have been, because only 2 rounds in, and Mirage, they're going to pop their tactical timeout, hoping to talk things over before they go into yet another defensive round. In that last round, it was very different from the first in that we saw no opening engagements within the first minute, or even 2 minutes, I think it was. Compared to the first round, I mean, in that first round, we saw several engagements right away. We saw Mirage try to take gunfights really early, and, between the first and the second, they really changed that defensive style. They said, okay, no swinging, let's back off, let's make sure One Shot have to take the control slowly, but gain no advantage for it in terms of the man count. And while that may have worked, it put both teams in kind of this odd 50-50 situation that whoever launched into that opening pick first could then really start to roll with the punches and keep going ahead with it, and that's what One Shot did, taking down Nyx first, who was the Maestro who walked up that red 90 hall. And the moment the Maestro was dealt with, not only are your Evil Eyes off the board, but you're losing a formidable weapon for what could have been some sort of plant denial. Shot there from Slippery was very impressive. Loading is going to get fried, and right off the bat, I mean, that is 3 rounds in a row where One Shot are claiming this opening kill.
Yeah, well done. Pushing right into Bakery. Aggressive there from Slippery, but he likely had that info to back it up. And you take out the Wamai very early on. That's a lot of discs now dead in the pocket of Loading. And One Shot are looking to continue to take control and formulate this Bakery direct push. Now, of course, there is an Echo to worry about. Not only is that going to be plant denial if One Shot take too long, but time has not really been too much of a factor here for One Shot. Most of their plant attempts have been relatively early enough. Dream also is placed all the way in coat check, and Swaylin appears to be just outside the reception doorway. You could potentially put this Echo under fire and make him unable to use these drones, but instead it's Quartz to pop open the restaurant window. Benji narrowly avoiding those shots to place himself behind Whiskey and make this east side hold a little bit tougher for One Shot to clear.
One Shot, though, I mean, they don't seem, really faltered by any of this Mirage defense so far at all. I mean, we're still a minute 15 to go, and One Shot have made a fair good amount of progress here. They are now extending their stretch of that attack over towards that Whiskey Bar side. We see Quartz droning things out a little bit. Storms, he'll get felled all the way from Kochek here. Nice angle there from Dream through multiple soft walls that caught Storm off guard, certainly, and now he's gone. Kilo will get one back. So will Slippery. There goes Benji. Slippery falls for his troubles. Nyx to finish him off, but there's one more player still in the long haul. That's Quartz. Kilo with the final blow. And, I mean, in a flurry of seconds, we didn't get to see much of it there, but One Shot just took engagement after engagement, and Mirage just couldn't match them blow for blow.
Yeah, there were really only 2 trades over the course of that round. The initial one being from Dream with that long angle through Kochek, and at the end there you saw Nyx take out one player. But again, something that was very absent from Coastline, and very apparently so, was One Shot's inability to trade each other out. And that's typically a strength that we hammer home, that we focus on with One Shot's play, and we are finally seeing that come through full force here on Cafe. Not a single player in that round was pushing solo. Well, maybe except for Slippery at the very beginning of the round, but he got his pick, so whatever. Towards the latter half, I mean, sure, Dream got that pick, but the take through Whiskey, as soon as they fried that Jaeger, they went in, they took full control. Nyx, I mean, sure, he got one, but he was instantly fragged out, and Kilo getting both in Bakery, one through the breach, and making sure that Thomas couldn't do anything from above. That vertical control, sure, it's nice to have as the defense, but it doesn't matter all too much when all of your anchors are dead. That is now 3 attacks in a row for One Shot, all on different sites. Mirage struggling to find a successful home on the defense.
Yeah, and as a defensive team, I mean, that puts you in such an uncomfortable spot where you can't quite find a site or a strategy that works for you. And the beauty of it is that Mirage is, changing up the site every time, right? They're not going for the same site twice, trying the same strategy and hoping for different results. They know that they need to figure something out, figure some site out, and you can just see that it pains them not to be able to find that home. We came into this map saying it's definitely going to be more defensive-sided than Coastline was, even though that ended up, going 4-2 in the favor of Mirage. And if that was correct, I mean, Mirage, at the very least, need to get these 3 back, and then it still wouldn't be fully defensive-sided. One Shot, they've already done enough. They've already done the job of any attacking team on any relatively defensive-sided map. Any round they could get at this point is only a bonus.
Yeah, I mean, already 3 rounds. Beautiful stuff from One Shot so far. Now, the beauty of this play from One Shot was not only the freebie plant, but the resulting cover from above. And if Mirage let go of this top floor as easily as they did previously, it could really punish them. It already has. Hopefully Mirage have learned from their mistakes and are now going to hold a little bit more stalwart. But Slippery, fast in the building. There's no pixel hold at all for this defense. There's someone from the attack watching the white fall off as well. If Benji tries to vault over this railing, he'll surely die to Quartz. Now the pressure is on the rest of those players from One Shot to force the Jaeger to do so.
Nade down the white hall. Slippery trying to force out 2 players, one who sits on planks and one who sits on the stairs itself. Because that nade went out, looks like One Shot will find themselves with a smoke grenade to keep an eye on. But Quartz knows he can be of help in this matter as well. He's trying to spot out Loading from behind, who now only has 2 of those toxic smokes because he's already used 1. But here come One Shot. They're just going to come barreling down this white hall, storming into Cocktail and taking all of this control. Nyx is going to prep a C4 because he knows there's an opportunity lying right around the corner, and as such, One Shot are going to have to be quite careful of how they position next. If they've taken out the camera, that'll certainly be nice. But once Storm starts to get this breaching hammer going, no, it looks like that C4 is actually going to miss. So One Shot, they still are sitting in a pretty good spot, but they have to be aware of the clock with 45 seconds left and still those yokai drones to worry about on the site. And Execute is not going to be simply free.
Yeah, this could be a beautiful adjustment from Mirage should the time get that low. Thomas's C4, which was also pre-placed, will nab a kill on Storms. That is the Sledge, who had the cover from above, now dead. 4 versus 5, One Shot trailed by a man, and there's 20 seconds for them to play with. The Hibana not able to find the trade into mining. Gas cannons are stalling out so much time. Slippery getting a kill above, and Kilo attempting the plant. Nyx not able to swing just yet, but here's the Yokai. First set of denial. Benji with a frag, but Quartz lands another 2, and Kilo's getting the plant down. Yokai now destroyed. It was too early. The plant attempt is going to resume, and Dream doesn't have any more drones to try and deny with. The pistol will end up killing Dream. Nearly the second there for Quartz. It'll be a triple kill, I believe, for the Ash, but Benji's stuck in a 1v2. Both his opponents very healthy, still with Finka boost to boot. And he's got about 25 seconds to kill both of them and get on this counter defuse. Both of them now staring in his direction. Slippery finishes the round. And although the Yokais nearly came in clutch, One Shot stay cool and composed and take their 4th attack in a row.
One Shot stays composed, but Quartz certainly stayed composed and did, I gotta say, the majority of the work in those last few seconds, right? A beautiful job dealing with not only the Yokai drone, but then the 2 players, the 2 Mirage defenders who were sneaking in from behind, I think it was. I mean, it was madness how well Quartz was able to play that. He not only had a perfect shot on the Yokai drone just in the nick of time, but then he had to whip around and deal with the 2 defenders who were converging on him. And had he not gotten one of those kills, again, pistol in hand, limited on ammo, limited on options, had he not gotten one of those kills, I think we're looking at a very different story. I think we're looking at a round that Mirage have finally secured, because now there are 2 defenders pushing their way in from Pillar, where the coverage from Slippery, yes, it was there, but it wouldn't have been enough to save Kilo's life. Because Quartz got one of those kills and got the Yokai drone, that right there is why One Shot were able to take the round. I loved the adjustment there from Mirage, just like you said, Harrison, but it just wasn't enough. One Shot played that to perfection. Quartz was on his game, getting his 7th kill. I mean, joined by Slippery, they're both putting up some serious numbers right now, and it's no wonder that One Shot are seeing, you know, a marked improvement from that first map.
Yeah, incredible stuff from them so far. Clearly way more comfortable on Cafe than they were on Coastline. They're looking to keep the ball rolling on this attack. I mean, 4 rounds in a row so far. That is already better than their record on Coastline, and they'll be looking to extend it. Mirage, for the first time, are going to be going to Bar. We have not seen this site from them before, this map, and it's kind of strange to say so. Usually it's the most popular site, or at least, you know, top 2, I would expect. So interesting that Mirage have not played it for this long. Additionally, only bringing 1 C4. Nyx is solo below the site, I believe. I don't think he's got too much help at his disposal. And One Shot, well, it looks like it's going to be a relatively standard take, mostly in through Piano, with maybe Quartz coming in from the back sometime later, but it's actually Slippery with the first kill once again onto the Wamai, just like we saw in the kitchen round, shutting down those discs really early on. And this is going to be way more important on top floor than it was for kitchen.
Benji now feeling the pressure as One Shot worked their way towards Pixel. It was just a drone for now. It wasn't much else, but now One Shot will again work their way towards this roof, work their way onto that stage rappel, that ticket rappel, and Swaylin will work his Twitch drone in and around, trying to possibly deal with those ADSs. He'll get a couple of them successfully. That'll make this pixel clear quite a bit easier, and that'll make Benji likely a lot more cautious about how long he maintains this position. Looks like that was right, because he'll back off quickly into bathroom, doesn't want to risk holding that position any longer than he has to.
Yeah, but One Shot are slowed down a little bit, which is understandable. They've got that opening pick. They've got to make sure that Pixel is completely clear. Swaylin now sending the drone into sight, seeing if he can pick off any more utility, perhaps anything covering the shield in Freezer to make that easier for the attack to blow up. They still have to worry about Benji here in bathroom, but I believe he will make his quick escape down the White Hall and back towards Pallet, or Stacks as it's sometimes known as. And you got Court still cutting off White just in case someone rotates up or down. He could potentially... Does he have an angle on the glory shield? He does! It deals so much damage and actually kills Benji! What a play from the Ash, sneaking over towards White and using the defender's utility against them. Slippery even peeking through the flames to light up Dream, and Nick still thinks they're top White, so that C4 is completely useless. One Shot fully in the advantage. Storms another kill. Now Nick's the next to fall, and Dream's alone with just 1 HP, and they know exactly where he is. There's 3 people facing him. Storms finishes it out, and One Shot 5 rounds in a row now on their attack.
Well, with that beautiful, flawless round, One Shot not only obviously continue a very successful 5-0 half, but Harrison, they put us into a pretty confusing spot. We are looking at a cafe that is going extremely attacker-sided when Valkyrie is on the board. That feels unusual to say. These operator bans, they felt defensive-sided because Valkyrie is still an option for this team to play, for Mirage to use, and with that amount of intel at their fingertips, you combine that with the Pulse, you combine that with the Yokai, it is so odd to say that the defense has yet to win a round. A flawless round as well, just to cap off what has been an exceptional chunk of attacking so far from One Shot. I don't know what this team can't do.
Yeah, and I mean, Mirage are in the danger zone now. I mean, going down 5-1 at the half is already bad enough. If One Shot take a 6-0, I mean, that's pretty much map 3 guaranteed. And I mean, to add on to your point, not only is Valkyrie up, but Wamai's up, Flores is banned. This really seems like it should be a defender's game, but it's not. And I gotta give it up to One Shot. Unlike on Coastline, where it was Slippery doing most of the heavy lifting, everyone is showing up. I mean, Slippery's 8-2, tied for top frag. Quartz has had some incredible moments so far this map. Kilo is getting the plant down, 3 plants in 5 rounds. That is a 60% plant rate so far, and he's grabbing the kills. He's 3-1. And especially Storms, I want to highlight Storms. He's 2-4. He's had some, good coverage from above and such, but it's not the kills that I'm focused on. It's the utility usage with that sledgehammer. On Coastline, there was a lot to be desired with the vertical play. He would often die just a few hits in, but that vertical play has been a forefront of One Shot's attacks onto the lower bomb site so far. He has been doing excellent work with that sledgehammer, and I only expect it to continue because, I mean, Mirage right now on the back foot, this is their last hope.
There is no question that they need this round right now. To go down 6-0 to One Shot, you're asking for an impossible comeback at that point. And, I mean, we saw, a similar story on Coastline where Mirage, they were dominant right off the bat maybe, or One Shot kind of brought it back here and there. But, I mean, it was a story of one team having to make that comeback in that second half and being unable to do so. And if that storyline is to repeat here, Mirage are going to be in a good bit of trouble, especially if they cannot manage to get another round here. We'll see how they can hold down this mining site again, going here an unorthodox site choice that hasn't worked for them in the past. They're going to try to work with it again. A C4 is going to miss, not quite making its way outside the snow door to catch the player sitting there on their drone. Benji and Dream taking a bit of damage. The Goyo shield on Pixel now popped, and One Shot making their way across this top floor. It certainly isn't the most expeditious of top floor clears, but they have gotten a lot of distance covered, and they're forcing Mirage out of those positions.
Yeah, Kilo was outside the mining window. That's where he had initially gotten that plant down in round number 1, actually, was the last time Mirage had this defended this site. But it looks like he'll deviate from that and try and go somewhere else. Slippery is looking to climb down white. There's no one necessarily in the hallway to greet him just yet. Most of those defenders actually in dining. Curiously enough, there were like 3 people in dining, I think. Storm's continuing to play the vertical game, making sure that the hallway and reading are unplayable, as Slippery eventually does push down that staircase and nab the opening kill on Benji. Not the way you wanted to start this round out if you're Mirage. Once again, nobody positioned in reading. One Shot will now confirm that. So much of Mirage's manpower inside of dining itself, super odd. That's usually a pretty tough room to try and anchor in, especially with loading, rocking the TCSG. Not a very conventional gun because, I mean, in Siege, headshots are king, and TCSG is not nearly as powerful as it once was. Swaylin will nab a kill before Kilo gets traded out. That's the primary planter on the floor. Now it's in the hands of Quartz, and Swaylin gets dropped on the coming through the window, through the smoke, but it's not going to stop that plant. Quartz still getting it down, but it doesn't even matter. Slip will end it, and that is a 6-0 flawless attacking half on Cafe.
Well, I mean, very well done from One Shot, and that is indeed 6-0 uncontested. Mirage have been unable to get a single round here. I mean, this map, it's generally considered defensive-sided, and even if this map is maybe occasionally leans towards the favor of the attack, it never goes 6-0. 6-0 is clearly saying, okay, One Shot have a much better understanding of this map than Mirage do. This is One Shot territory, and it is not territory for Mirage at all. I mean, if Mirage can get a round or two at this point, I say that's good enough. You can go into that third map with maybe a little bit more momentum. Maybe you can finally stop the bleeding, but if you let One Shot go into our decider, which it seems pretty clear, Harrison, that we're going to see regardless, then, I mean, if you let them go into that much momentum, you are going to put yourself in a very tough spot if you're Mirage. You need to hit that reset button as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, One Shot now get the defense, and well, they'll have Swaylin on the roam. I know I've seen Cafe from One Shot enough to know how much damage Swaylin can do with that Vigil if he's not stopped by Mirage. I mean, hey, maybe this happens to just be an extremely attacker-sided map. I mean, I don't suspect Mirage will make the full comeback, but I expect them to at least put up a couple rounds.
At least one would hope, right? Not only for their sake, but for ours, right? We want to see, especially that third map, we want to see that one nice and closely contested, and be good to see them get back on their feet a little bit here. They'll begin with a rush, a full-fledged rush attempt. Thomas is in the middle of the site, and Kilo had no idea. You're going to take off one player, and now you're going to cost one player's life for it, but a good start for Mirage. Wait a second. Was that the only player to rush into the... Okay, they have a little bit of a rush. It was mostly just a Thomas rush. Everyone else is a lot more patient on this push. I mean, Thomas is still here, but no one else is. This is a very disjointed push from Mirage, and oddly enough to say, it's kind of working right now, because One Shot haven't worked their way back to the site. Nyx is finally going to work his way in and go for the plant, and he will get choked off by the toxic smoke, but he can relocate. He's got the site to himself. Dream will pick up a kill onto Swaylin. Quartz will fall right behind. Storms gets one back, but it simply doesn't matter. He's now the last alive with Slippery gone. He's got to fight against 3, and he doesn't have site control. He doesn't have eyes on the diffuser. Thomas picks it up. He's going to go for the plant, and this round is all but over. Storms now. He's the one who has to pull out a miracle. Mirage making a very peculiar rush attempt work.
Yeah, I was confused when it was just Thomas. I expected people to be following him, but, you know, when the observer peeled back, we saw the silhouettes. No, they were kind of lagging behind a little bit, but it certainly did freak One Shot out, right? Thomas got the entry pick in sight. Sure, there was a refrag from Quartz, but Thomas being tucked into that corner. You saw the play from Slippery. He really wanted to go downstairs and aid Quartz, but he was being stopped by the Nomad and Smallbake eventually, and towards the end of the round, killed in that position. But One Shot looked really scattered, really taken aback by that solo play from Thomas, which I'm sure was aided by intel from his team. So good job to Mirage for taking advantage of that play, eventually getting that plant down. Sure, the initial attempt was gassed off, but Quartz couldn't do much after that as he was downed. Well done, and I mean, it's still 6-1, though. I'm sure One Shot are just kind of shrugging off that round, but they won't go kitchen again. Instead, they'll go up top to Bar, bringing the castle, as well as that mute, meaning we're probably going to see a cigar hold, though a little strange that there's no Aruni in play.
Yeah, going with a cigar hold and not having that extra projectile denial capability of those Surya gates is a little bit unusual, but you've got to remember that One Shot does have both the Jaeger and the Wamai at their disposal. The Aruni gates become a bit more essential when the Wamai is banned, but of course, because we have the Kaid and those Electro Claws taken off the board instead of that Wamai, you do have a bit of that extra potential that maybe the Aruni, you don't need her to bring to supplement, but it may not be the easiest hold to get done without her regardless. You're still relying on those castle barricades, and those Aruni gates simply provide one extra layer of coverage that maybe those Wamai Magnets or Jaeger ADSs will not. Bit of a run out we just saw a moment ago from Slippery, trying to get aggressive and hunt for some early frags. Does not want to let Mirage get into the building again and go for another, rush, go for some more shenanigans. And even though they did work in round 1, said shenanigans, it does not seem like a strategy that's going to work for Mirage multiple times in a row. At least they've gotten that one round, right? They've stemmed a little bit of that bleeding, but now they've got to change the pace a little bit, and One Shot will be likely a little bit more prepared for whatever Mirage throw at them.
Yeah, the buck play I do like though from Dream. As Mirage continued to push on this first floor, likely going to take full control of reading and then buck in from below. It does avoid that cigar hold and all the utility that One Shot have placed towards that side of the map. Mirage effectively circumventing all the ADSs, Wamidus, and even that shield, but Slip tries to get aggressive on White Stairs. Dream is ready and ends up taking the first pick. It does deal a lot of damage to this buck, though, so he'll have to be very careful in opening those holes in case any defenders fire back on him.
Well, One Shot are trying to leverage this vertical play if they can, but it's not going to work for them right now because the vertical play is actually working against them. You can see Dream coming in from below. That's going to down Kilo. A moment ago, right, you lost, again, your smoke player. That's not going to be ideal. With your castle unrecoverable and just about to be finished off by Dream here. There's the final kill there. It really does seem like One Shot have put themselves in a bit too deep of a hole to climb out of. Loading will get his double kill, forcing Swaylin into the corner, and now the last player alive. He'll get flashed out, but he'll pick up a kill just a moment before, but now Mirage are on the hunt. They've got Diffuser. Actually, no, Diffuser has been dropped outside, so they couldn't go for the plant. They had to go for the frag, and indeed, they will. It's Loading who lines up a triple, and it's Mirage who take 2 in a row.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. I mean, the 3 early kills coming from one below from that buck. There was Loading actually getting a kill from the skylight, if I'm not mistaken, and then Kilo being downed by Nyx on the rappel and then finished by the buck below. So all of those kills that Mirage were able to get in that early round down to their initial clear below Cocktail and just the covered angles up top. Well done to funnel One Shot into your lines of sight because, I mean, at that point, One Shot really couldn't do much except try and escape and evade, but instead, were unwittingly running at their own demise, especially with Quartz, at the end as well. Understandably that he tried to make a play, just happened to miss the shots on Loading and leave Swaylin in 1v5, which is, as always, 99% of the time unwinnable. So 6-2 now. Mirage have taken 2 in a row. Is it enough for a comeback? I don't know yet, but One Shot will go back down and retry Kitchen. Also, curious to note that One Shot did not have Valkyrie on the top floor, despite that being, much more useful for C4s, but it does make sense that they want, to pile more utility on it. And One Shot are taking the Echo now from Kilo, so maybe if there's a rush, if someone's on those cams, they'll have an early warning sign, or if Mirage slow down and take a little too long, well, you've got the smoke and the Echo to combo and try and deny that plant.
Right, as you mentioned, I mean, you don't bring the Valkyrie once, and now you bring double of that intel potential, right? Excuse me, you've got the Black Eyes and the Yokai drones to add to what information denial you've got as well, right? You've got Swaylin on the Vigil, you've got Storms on the Mute, so not only are you gaining a lot of intel from your team, but you're doing as much as you can to limit the intel that Mirage are able to obtain. It does feel like a matter of time before Mirage take this map, rather One Shot. It does seem like a tough, they're gonna need 4 rounds in a row. It would have been, 6 rounds in a row is what they need. They've done 2 of them, but to chain 4 more when One Shot have their pick of the bomb site and they can just keep figuring out, changing up, see what works, doesn't seem all that possible, but, Dream is looking to prove me wrong here. He'll flash out Swaylin, forcing the Vigil back. Swaylin will have to tuck tail and run, and that gives Mirage the opportunity to push in and take full control of VIP. To do so at this point in the round is, almost unprecedented, right? A position in which One Shot are hoping to maintain into the late round. They're not even going to maintain it for longer than 45 seconds.
Yeah, Storms and Swaylin, of course, still looking to do work up above. Mirage are not clearing them. Hopefully, for One Shot's sake, they do have proper info on the site if push comes to shove that this vertical play can punish Mirage if they go for the plant without clearing. For now, though, they're just holding angles, daring those roamers to try and come back to site. First nade goes out. It'll damage Kilo, not kill the Echo, but definitely dissuade him from playing there. But there's Slippery on the run out, punishing Dream. Quartz, another frag on to Benji. Now a 5 versus versus 3 in the favor of one shot, but there's 2 back for Mirage. Nyx catches Slippery, attempting to go back in the site, loading another, but there's Swaylin on Brown, catching Nyx unaware and dropping Case in full view of the Brown stairs. Somebody from Mirage is going to have to go and pick that up. It might not matter that loading has site control because they cannot plant. Nice snipe on the C4 as well as the follow-up nade. Good tag team effort, but it won't prevent loading from being downed on the floor. Thomas has picked up the Case, but doesn't know Quartz is still hiding in the corner, and there it is. Mirage only able to get 2 rounds in a row before One Shot finally lock up the map and send us to map 3.
2 rounds that I hope we'll remember coming into that next map, right? They've done the job to stop the bleeding, but now they've got to fully recover. We're headed to map 3, where all our questions will be answered.